What's going on, Niner fans? How we doing? How we feeling? It's draft day 2. We are here. We are ready. I can't wait. I want to go over the Mykel Williams draft pick, kind of go a little bit over my thoughts. We've had a day to think about it. I'm excited. I know a lot of people were not too happy about the pick, but, you really can't judge a pick until they set foot on the field. And it's crazy. People are doubting the man. He hasn't even played, but I like the pick. I'll tell you why. And we'll kind of look forward to the 49ers second-round pick. We'll make this quick today, quick show, and then we'll be back a little later when the draft starts. But Mykel Williams, edge, Georgia. I mean, guys from Georgia are usually dogs, right, that are drafted early, especially defensive linemen. Look at the Eagles, right? They've made a career, a living out of drafting these guys. And I think that SEC talent is usually a cream of the crop. They're guys that are pro ready. They play against the best talent. They play against the guys that are in the league that they're going to be playing against anyways. You guys see in the film, he dominated Kelvin Banks Jr., who was one of the top 3 tackles taken in the draft. So, I mean, it tells you a lot where he's going to be playing against people like Kelvin Banks. And that's, who you have to compare him to, in this draft. And he smashed him twice against Texas. So, guy's a home run hitter. Now, the thing is, a lot of people are saying, oh, he's young, he's green. Yeah, he's green. That means he has a high ceiling. And sometimes it's, a little risky to take a very young player, but he's 20 years old. He's only going to get stronger. He's only going to get better. He's a very, very talented player. As a true freshman, he was a starter and he led the Dogs, right? And he was always all over the place. Now, the big reason, right, John Lynch says he wants a guy that can set the edge, a premier edge setter. And that's what he is. They arguably, well, not arguably, but Chris Kasurk says he's the best edge setter in the draft. And that's what the 49ers were looking for because, last year run defense was so bad. They need a guy that could stuff the run and he can get to the quarterback. He could do a little bit of both. Now, he didn't have a lot of, sacks throughout his career, right? They had 14 sacks. But if you look through the history of players, some of the best players didn't have big sack numbers, So let's just put that into perspective that sometimes the big gaudy sack numbers that people are looking for in college, it's not always what they're doing. They're doing so much more, disrupting the plays and getting chaos and, pressures. Whereas in the league, then they turn into sacks. So, some of the better players that have been drafted over the last couple of years didn't have big sack numbers. And I think that's, something that you have to put into perspective that sometimes you get pressures. And again, he's a guy that's going all over the place. He can set the edge. And with him being able to set the edge, he could play every down. And then they can get a situational pass rusher that's just a guy that's going to be in there to rush and torpedo the quarterback. I think that's going to be a great positional value there. And this guy, all right, he's a Swiss Army knife type of guy. 49ers love versatility. You have Chris Kasurk and Robert Salah. Both of those guys are going to uplift this guy and make him better, right, and help him get the best out of him. And then they can get a nasty defensive tackle that can stuff the hogs, stuff the run. And this guy can go push out to the end, or they can draft another insane edge in this draft. There's so much more players still available. So I thought it was a good pick. And, some people said they reached, and I want to speak on that. I don't think they reached. There was a lot of people that projected him to be top 10 to 15 player, and that's what he was. He was the 11th pick in the draft. People had him from 10 to 15. I had some people thinking that maybe he'd go 8 or 9, and that's what Kyle Shanahan and Lynch said, that he might be a guy that ends up we had to trade for, right? They were talking yesterday that they might have had to trade for him. John Lynch says, I tried to trade for him, but it didn't go through. It was Mykel Williams or bust. That's what it was. Like, I honestly think it was Mykel Williams or bust. We talked about it last night. Kyle Shanahan had the paper crumbled up in his pocket, and that's what the pick was. So that's it. Draft starts at 4 today. Yeah. Raymond says, I like the pick. Wish we went Nolan and got Mike Green or Landon in round 2, but you never know if Mike Green's going to be. And again, this is the guy that they wanted because it's the edge setter. And I think that's what they were really, really, really focused on because their run defense last year, let's be honest, was 29th against the run. They were really bad. And I think that's what their focus is, to stop the run. How many times did you guys watch the Niner game last year and going, stop the run, stop the run? Like, it was like the floodgates would open. And until they could stop the run, they couldn't do anything else. Like, it didn't matter if you can do anything else because they just couldn't stop the run. Teams would just gash him. So they want a guy that can set the edge, and that's what they got. So premier run stopper. We needed this as AK, and he's young and could develop into a good pass rusher. Yeah, he's the best of both your worlds. He's a guy that can become a better pass rusher, right? You teach him the techniques, the tools. He has the talent, the potential, the tools in his bag. Now you just got to bring him out of him. And then again, you have a guy that he's going to run stuff from day one. And that's huge for the 49ers. So let's take a look. Physical traits are insanely good, says Raymond. Yeah. It's going to be interesting, though, to see what they do today. So they got their guy, edge setter, right? The big time pass rusher. He seems very happy. Like, I don't know if you guys seen the comments, all the stuff out there. Like, he's talked about it. He's just very, very humble. He's so happy to be a 49er. Like, this guy's very happy to be a 49er. I don't know if you've seen the videos and everything. I'm sure you have, if you've been following along. It's amazing. Like, he says that he wants to be a defensive rookie of the year. He wants to be, all the awards. He wants to just do everything his first year, right? He says, take a look at some of this stuff. So he says he would rather have a Super Bowl than having a $150 to $200 million contract or a $60 million deal. Like, yeah, okay, we'll see. We'll see when the time comes about money. But he says, I ain't going to lie to you, bro. That's a legacy. A ring will decide whether you go into the Hall of Fame or not. Sometimes that's what it comes down to. Winning a Super Bowl is your legacy. So, yeah, I'll go with the Super Bowl. So he says he'll choose a Super Bowl over money. He said that I want a ring. I want to go to the Super Bowl my rookie year. It's a great way to start my career off. I want a ring. I also want 8 to 10 sacks. I ain't going to lie to you. And I want whatever rookie award it is, defensive rookie of the year or rookie of the year. I want it. I ain't going to lie to you. That's his new that's his saying. I ain't going to lie to you. I like this kid. He's got that dog mentality. And he just seems so humble. You guys saw the videos yesterday of him getting drafted. Honest reaction. He was excited. Today, there's a video of him getting to the 49ers, and he's leaving the locker room and stuff, and it just sinks in. And he gets a backpack, and they're like, "You're with the Niners." He's like, "I can't believe I'm with the Niners." He's like, "I'm in the league." Like, he's just so happy. He's just so humble. That's the type of guy you want. Good character. It seems like, he's a guy that's just happy to be here, and he's happy to work. And he's like, last night there was another quote. We posted this one. Let me see this clip. This was a great quote, and I was like, oh wow, this guy wants it, man. From Connor Hines TV, we retweeted it out. He says, I'm just blessed to be going there. This is a blessing. It couldn't be no better. I guess Cali was meant for me. He says, I can't wait to be out there and put the work in. I can't wait to get into the building. Like, this guy loves being a 49er first and foremost, but he just loves to play. He's hungry. And I saw a couple other videos where he's just hungry about the game. Like, there was a video that I guess an old coach of his was saying that, I think a high school coach says, there was an all-star game, but he didn't need to be there. He was a top 30 consensus pick, one of the best, talents in high school football. And there was like this big game. And the coach was like, oh, you don't need to play. But he's like, I want to play. I want to play. I want to hit people. Like, and he wouldn't come out the game. He's like, I want to play. And they're like, yo, give some other people some snaps. You don't need the snaps. You're too good. But he just is like hungry, and he has this like craving to play. That's the type of guy we want. He played through an ankle sprain last year, and he was playing at a high level. And I think that's another thing. People are like, oh, he's injury prone. Bro, he didn't miss any time last year, really. He played through a big injury, and he played nasty through the injury. So this is a guy with the high, integrity for the game, and he just has a big mindset. He just wants to go out there and do what it takes, and he's hungry to play. And that's what you got. We get a young guy. He's hungry. He's eager. He wants to learn from Nick Bosa. He says, I can't wait to learn from Nick Bosa. Like, all that stuff is great. The Niners tried to trade up for this guy, and yeah, it was good stuff. So Steven says Aldon Smith didn't get a lot of sacks from college before the Niners drafted him, and he became awesome. Yeah, until all the other stuff. But that's the thing. Sometimes just because they didn't get big numbers in college doesn't mean they're not going to get big numbers in the pros. First year, rookie season, if he gets 8 to 10 sacks, oh my God, that's amazing, right? MSQ says, I've been hearing Robert Gunn and Austin Brinkman. Thoughts? Hey, good picks, honestly. As long as the Niners don't reach for anybody, don't take a kicker, don't take, a position that we don't really necessarily need, I'm all for it. Get some good quality players, beef up this team, and just keep rolling. I think today's going to be a good day. My man Kai says, do you think we'll draft Will Johnson? I mean, there's possibility, but he has a knee injury. I know yesterday I said shoulder. He did have a shoulder issue going into the draft, but he also has a knee injury. This was reported yesterday. Adam Schefter. So he's got some stuff, man. He's got some injuries. To have him slip into the second round, it must be pretty serious. He was arguably the best corner in the draft. Now you can argue it, right? Like I said, and not everybody believes it, but a cover corner needs his knees, and if he has knee problems, that's dangerous. You don't want to take a corner with knee injuries. So that is risky. Now the 49ers love injury-prone players, so maybe it goes up their draft board. So we'll see. But Will Johnson definitely is a guy in the mix. Whoever gets him is getting a great player. He's going to play with a chip on his shoulder. I think there is a possibility. Yeah, who knows? But I do feel that those knee injuries are a cause for concern, and a lot of people are kind of treading lightly on that. So who do you want today? My man says I'm trolling. Long snapper. Those are a long snapper to kicker. Well, I said as long as it's not a long snapper or kicker, then there you go. So since it's a long snapper or kicker, we ain't taking those guys. There you go. That's why I didn't answer it like, oh yeah, we should get this guy. As long as I had no clue who they were, but I was trying to be nice. But yeah, if they're a long snapper and kicker, my boy, I ain't taking them. Ain't no way. Shador. Let's see who the talent. There's so much talent available today. Like honestly, there's so many people available in this draft. It's a deep draft. You got Darius Alexander, Omar Norman Lott. They met with him. You got CJ West, defensive tackle, Charles Grant, Marcus Mbo, Trey Amos, cornerback. He's still there. I mean, there's tight ends, Elijah Arroyo. Who else is there? Mike Green is available. Will Johnson, right? Nick Emenwari's there. Shamar Turner's there. Defensive tackle, center from Georgia, Jared Wilson. There's so much talent, man. Jalen Noel, wide receiver. That's Iowa State. The wide receiver, Brock knows him. Maybe they could get a guy like that. TJ Sanders, defensive tackle out of South Carolina. I could see him being a pick. Jonah Saviania, guard out of Arizona. I mean, there's so many players. There's some good linebackers. There's a lot of talent, man. There's a lot of talent. They've met with several players. Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe Bryant, they met with him. I don't know if he's a day 2 pick, but he's in the mix. But day 2 today, there's some fantastic talent. And I think the Niners, my prediction, the 49ers are going to get 2 defensive tackles and an offensive lineman. Now, if they don't go 2 defensive tackle, I think the third position would be a linebacker because there's some really good linebackers. And I think that's kind of where they're looking at defense, shore up the defense, So there's another list. This is a list from Adam Schefter of some of the highlighted players that are still available for rounds 2 and 3. You got Shador, you got Jalen Milroe, you got Tyler Shaw. Obviously, we don't need a quarterback. Luther Burden, the third wide receiver. You got Jaden Higgins, wide receiver. You got wide receiver Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams is a guy that the 49ers have been all over during the pre-draft, workouts and meetups and everything. Jalen Noel, like we said, wide receiver. Tight end Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo, running back Trayvon Henderson. That would be a fantastic player to get. Obviously, we don't necessarily need a running back in day 2, but, I mean, he'd be a pick to click. And then you got Mike Green, Donovan Ezuraku, Carson Schweinsinger, linebacker. You got Will Johnson, Shavon Ravel, Trey Amos, Nick Emenwari. So there's so much talent, man. Some big-time players that are available. And the 49ers have met with several of these players. Sometimes they don't meet with the players we met, that we picked. Yesterday, Mykel Williams, that was a guy they did meet on a 30 visit. So this year, they're 1 for 1. We'll see. Chevelle says Tej Beats. He'd be dope, man. I'm telling you, so much talent. You can't really be too upset today because I think as long as they don't reach for, some weird positions, we're good. There's good defensive tackles. There's a lot of depth. I think offensive linemen would be solid. So again, my prediction, my picks. If it's me picking, I'm taking defensive tackle, offensive lineman. Call it a day. Shore up the trenches. That's what we need, right? The trenches have been weak. You lost a lot of players over the last couple of years in those positions. Shore it up. You'll get yourself a guard that could start, and then you get a Pooney and Banks. Pooney and whoever they replace Banks with combination, and you'd be cooking. So, Alfred Collins is Leon Sanka. There's a lot. There's that Aeneas Pebbles guy. I know he's maybe not a day 2, but he's a guy that they're maybe in the mix. He can kind of slide into this team. There's a lot of really high-end quality players available in this draft. And again, it could go either way, but I think they're going defensive tackle because you got Robert Salah on board. And yesterday they tweeted, Jed York tweeted, Robert Salah is in the building. I don't think he just tweeted that for nothing. Robert Salah is in the building. And if you listen to what John Lynch said yesterday at the post conference, he basically said, look, if you think that's the only defensive lineman that we're adding to this team, you're wrong. You don't know what we're doing. So he basically said, we're taking another defensive lineman, and it's probably today, maybe two of them. He basically said, yeah, we're cooking up defense, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what the picks are probably going to be today. You know what I mean? So what was the exact quote? Let's see if I can find the exact quote. Let me see. Oh, yeah, we've got 10 more picks, and he won't be the only defensive lineman. That's what John Lynch said today. He says, we've got 10 more picks. He won't be the only D lineman. So it pretty much tells you where they're looking. They are going to stack this defensive line. But it makes sense, right? You don't have Hargrave anymore. You don't have Armstead anymore. You don't have Collins anymore, right? You don't have a lot of these players through the years that they had on this defensive line. And you don't have Leonard Floyd anymore. So out with the old, in with the new. And again, Mykel Williams, 20 years old, man. 20 years old. You can have him for a while. So Stackhouse, Collins, AK says after the Campbell situation last year, I think going after a linebacker would be smart. I'm pretty sure they're going to go linebacker. I would be. That's what I said you're either taking two defensive tackles or one defensive tackle and a linebacker and then an offensive lineman, because you're absolutely right. The Campbell situation last year was a bloody mess. It was a brutal situation, and the 49ers can't afford to have another situation like that. You need to give Fred Warner a perfect running mate. Now, I know they have options on their team, and D. Winters is going to get first crack at it, but if you can get a linebacker like Teddy Buchanan or somebody like that can come in and just be a starter day one, dog type guy, you don't pass on it. And you're right. We need to be able to replace that Dre Greenline energy. It's not going to be easy. It might take a few guys. So go get a dog and put them in there with Fred Warner. So, yeah, I agree. They're taking linebacker, because you're right. Steven Reynolds says, for me, if I were Lynch, I draft Ezra, offensive tackle in 43, Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle 75, and either Demetrius Snyder or Chris Paul Jr. at 100 pick. Those are good picks. I like Omar Norman Lott. I know the Niners met with them. Ezra, he's definitely a good player on the O-line. Would be nice to see him. I like Chris Paul Jr. If I had to choose between Demetrius Snyder and Chris Paul Jr., I like Chris Paul. CP3 vibes, just for the vibes. But no, he's actually a really good player, and I think he'd be fantastic. Niners did meet with them, so pretty cool. Julius says, all the years Salah has been on the staff, Niners drafted defensive line round one. Death taxes and the 49ers taking a defensive lineman when Robert Salah is around. Pretty good. That's pretty crazy. 2017, 2019, 2020, and 2025. You're right. So we drafted Solomon Thomas, Nick Bosa, Javon Kinlaw, and Mykel Williams. Right now, they're 1 for 3. Let's see if they can go 2 for 4, because Mykel Williams has to hit. Javon Kinlaw, Solomon Thomas, trashed players. Unfortunately, they were bust. I won't say trash. They just were bust. They're good people. They're good humans. I've met them. They're good people, but they're trash players, unfortunately. And Bosa's a dog. He's defensive player of the year, defensive rookie of the year. Great player. That one worked out. So D. Winters is injury prone, says David. So that's definitely another reason why they need to add a linebacker, like we were saying. So I agree. I like D. Winters. I like his talent, but can he stay healthy? Can he be that dog? I don't know. Niners, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Robert Salah wasn't on the Niners coaching staff. Interesting. Yeah. And you're right. They went Trey Lance, nobody. They took nobody 1 year. 2 years, because they traded for Trey Lance. And then they took Ricky Pearsall. 1 year they took Mike McGlinchey. Yeah, they took Mike McGlinchey 1 year. That was the 1 year they didn't draft a D lineman in the first round. Salah was there. think Mike McGlinchey. No, it's not a pick to click. Do you think we'll run 3 linebackers on the field like before with Azeez, Warner, and Greenlaw because of Salah? I think we could see it. You know, Robert Salah, he likes to have that extra guy, the hybrid type guy, or sometimes just like the outside type rush backer. So I could see it. If there's a good enough player, like if the guy's good enough and he needs to be on the field, I think they'll do it. I mean, Azeez, it was hard to take him off the field. Greenlaw was hard to take him off the field. Like those 2 guys needed to be on there. And Warner, right? He's a dog middle linebacker. So if they get the right guy, I could see it. I like D. Winters. Again, like I said, he's really good. He's got the talent. Can he stay on the field? Is he healthy enough? Can he stay? Can he sustain a season? This guy was a captain at TCU. He was a good player. So he has talent. I've always been a big advocate for D. Winters, but the problem was, like you guys mentioned, injuries. So Greedy Greg, what's good? What's good? I'm good, man. That's the word. My boy says, I hope we get Mike Green. I would be a fantastic pick. Bro, can you imagine Mike Green and Mykel Williams? That D-line's going to be explosive. Nick Bosa, Mike Green, and Mykel Williams would be fantastic. But I think they're going defensive tackle. But you can't hate on it. You can't hate if they go Mike Green. It'd be crazy. I think he slides to 43. That'd be wild. He was supposed to be a top 15 pick, top 20 pick, and then he could slide to 43. Would be wild. Will be wild. But that's it. That's the case. Again, I just wanted to hop in, give you my thoughts on Mykel Williams. I love the pick. Again, young player, explosive, high upside, big ceiling type guy. You know, he can set the edge. That's what the Niners want. He can stuff the run. He has the abilities and the tools to learn how to become a better, quarterback, pass rusher. He is able to do both. He's versatile, and I think he's got a very, very bright future. I know a lot of people don't like it. They think he's a reach. But again, if you look at a lot of the mock drafts, people thought he was going to be a top 15 pick, and he ended up being a top 15 pick. So you can't reach for a guy that was supposed to be slotted at that level. So good pick to me. Not everybody's going to like it. We'll see how he plays on the field. Now, I do understand the 49ers' first-round history of draft picks is a little dicey. I mean, hell, I posted the post yesterday, and that post got a lot of attention. I don't know if it was good attention or bad attention, but it got attention. And let me tell you, let's go over it real quick. I posted this yesterday, and people were freaking out. So 49ers first round draft history under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. 2017, it was Solomon Thomas at number 3 and linebacker Reuben Foster at 31. 2018 was Mike McGlinchey at 9. 2019 at number 2 was Nick Bosa. 2020 at pick 14 was Kinlaw. 2021 at pick number 3 was Trey Lance. They didn't have another first-round pick until 2024, which was last year. Number 31, Ricky Purcell. And then this year, number 11, Mykel Williams. So I get why people are frustrated and a little stressed and they got PTSD. So I understand the pushback. I understand why people are like, oh, God, here we go again. Because they don't have a good history. You know, Nick Bosa was a great pick. Brandon Ayuk was good, but, last 2 years have been a little rocky with him. Purcell has potential, but, it's still early. I think he can become something. I mean, the fans love him now after he got shot. I don't know if they would have loved him if he didn't get shot because they drafted Cooper DeJean for like 30 seconds and then people were pissed off. So he's got to come out and ball, but he seems like he's having a good offseason. So I get the pushback, but I like the pick, and I think he's going to be a very important key piece for the 49ers defense. So, yeah, a lot of those players were busts. Ricky was cooking towards the end of the season. I agree. Day 2 draft crush today. Honestly, man, Mike Green. If he's available, that's a guy, man. Mike Green's a dog. I like Will Johnson out there. Obviously, I mean, I can't believe he slid into round 2, but you got to tread lightly on that knee injury. I like Norman Lott. Savion Williams. I love the guy. I don't know if he gets drafted in day 2, but it's going to be close. If they're going to go wide receiver, Savion Williams, man, go slide him up. Go take him on your team. Go get that explosive, versatile weapon. But we'll see how it goes, man. You guys have a good rest of your night. Love you. We'll be back later. Go Niners. Let's hope they don't screw this up. That's it. Don't screw this up. No matter what, hit that like button. I love you. I'll see you later. Go Niners.